Hi, I bet you can't even tell that I have a mental illness, and that mental illness is called an addiction to bad movies. I can't help myself. I see every new horror movie that comes out. I've seen every single 2024 horror movie except for one. The one good one, apparently, which is Late Night with the Devil. I've seen every single other horror movie, and I double-checked. And at this point, I don't even know why. Like, I know they're going to be awful going into them. And you all know I love bad movies, but I also know going into most of these that they're not going to be so bad they're good. They're just going to be a genuine, complete waste of time. So you have to wonder, am I possessed by some kind of dog shit movie demon that just somehow deep in my soul compels me to go waste money and time to see these on the big screen? Today I subjected myself to The Exorcism starring Russell Crowe. This one was really interesting. Not the movie itself, that was the furthest thing from interesting, but the concept of this movie fascinated me because last year, Russell Crowe was in a movie called The Pope's Exorcist, where he played another exorcist. So I thought this was like the extended Pope's Exorcist universe, but these two movies have no relation to one another. He played the same role twice. He said like King Neptune, that was so good I think I'll have it a second time. It fucking said, hey, where's second breakfast? I love playing the Exorcist role. And at the end of The Pope's Exorcist, they set up like a Men in Black style universe where there's this group that goes and fights the demons that are possessing innocent humans. And it all happens in the shadows, behind closed doors, where God refuses to look. Well, I'm going a little far there, but basically they set it up as I'm assembling a team of elite exorcists. We gotta go kill all the demons. We gotta go fuck them in the face. So they conclude that movie with like this almost pseudo montage of like exorcists getting ready and setting up like a network to track possessions and all of that. I have expected Linkin Park's What I've Done to start playing, like the end of the Transformers movie when Optimus Prime makes a call out to the cosmos for more Autobots. I thought that was going to happen, but for exorcists. So this movie I went into really thinking that it tied into that universe. And can you believe my surprise when it turns out he's just playing the same role in a different way? And the movie's bad. But here's the really crazy thing. The whole movie's not bad. I actually thought almost the entire first half of the film was pretty decent. Like, it's not amazing by any means, but with all the slop that you get fed, like the fucking pigs we are in the movie theater seeing these horrible horror movies, it was at least a step above most of that. So the film's concept is they're filming a remake of the original Exorcist movie, which they treat like Voldemort. They don't name it, but they keep implying it, and they keep using the similar themes and scenes from the original Exorcist in a modernized way. So Russell Crowe gets the role of the exorcist who's going to perform the climactic final moment there. And he gets the role because the person prior to him got attacked by a demon on set and killed, and it led Russell Crowe, who was an actor struggling with alcoholism and drugs and just a really troubled past, to land this big position. And throughout the filming of the movie, more and more creepy, evil things keep happening as a demon has infiltrated Russell Crowe himself. And I actually really like the set here, where they have like this dollhouse, this open dollhouse that they're in filming the scenes, and Russell Crowe's struggling with the material, and the director's saying some really mean things to him, actually just talking shit like it's a League of Legends lobby, getting real toxic to try and bring out the best performance of him. His daughter also hates him because he's an alcoholic drug addict who abandoned her and her mother when the mother had cancer, and he was out apparently just getting high, getting drunk, and chasing pussy, as the director called it. So they set him up as like some irredeemable piece of shit who's doing everything he can to just get this last great performance, and like he really wants to nail this role, but just can't seem to do it. So as he's trying, he just keeps getting worse and worse. The demon infiltrates him deeper and deeper, and the performance from Russell Crowe is pretty good. Like, it actually seemed like he tried very hard in this role. The daughter's performance was really good too. Like, they actually tried to put their best foot forward for this movie, and it's such a shame that it all completely falls apart and wasn't worth trying for in the end. So, like I said, I do think the first half is at least decent. Like, I find it to be a compelling story that I haven't really seen before like this. It started off pretty self-aware, and then it completely lost that and fell into almost a parody of itself. But I will say, even in the first half, which is definitely the best part of the film, which I guess really ultimately isn't saying much. That's like saying the best part of a poop is when it comes out of your butt. It's like, okay, I guess. So, like, the first half, they still don't set up scares very well. They actually do build tension okay, but there's no real scare that happens or anything that ever comes from it with all the tension. They usually just take the cheapest way out with, like, the lamest jump scare ever, where it's just like a really quick loud noise of something that just kind of appears out of nowhere. So, like, example, Russell Crowe's getting, like, possessed. The daughter sees him just kind of standing, like, sleepwalking. She goes up to him, and they just stand there staring, or she just stands there staring at him for a second while he's doing this. And then all of a sudden he snaps out of it going, and it's like, okay, I mean, I guess. Like, they built up tension for, like, 3 straight minutes, only for that to be, like, the big payoff scare. And it's just very silly. Like, it just is. Like, that's silly. Like, you laugh at that, not go like, oh, jeez, jeepers. No one goes like, zoinks, you got me with that. It's just, oh, okay, loud noise startled me. That's a really silly loud noise. There's also just a lot of things in this movie that they kind of set in place and then do nothing with. So, like, the director, he's clearly a bad guy. He is a villain saying some heinous shit to Russell Crowe's character, Anthony, and he gets nothing for it. Like, the demon gets very upset at him, but then does nothing to kill him or, like, you know, give him any level of, like, comeuppance or anything, even though they really set it up like that was going to happen. It just doesn't. There's also a romance plot with his daughter that also just doesn't go anywhere. Like, I guess the only reason it's there is to show that not everything in her life is terrible, but it doesn't lead to anything, and they end up abandoning the relationship subplot. So, like, I feel like at some point, apparently this movie went through a lot of delays. I feel at some point they just said, fuck it, we're gonna Frankenstein this, we're gonna cut something together the best we can and just send it. And it does feel that way. It's just very rushed, especially at the end. Also, Sam Worthington's in this movie. Huge actor. He has maybe 3 scenes. Why even bother putting him in this pile of shit? Like, maybe this is something he wanted to do because he was bored. He's like, oh, I see you guys are filming. Do you guys want me to do something with this? I mean, I've got like 3 hours to kill. You might, oh, okay, cool, yeah, you know, I'll come play that. Because he's actually on screen for maybe in total 45 seconds. And yet, in the beginning of the movie, they put his name there as like a prominent character. Like, I went in here under the impression like, oh, okay, maybe Sam Worthington's going to have a big role to play. He does not. Like, he has probably less screen time than I did in The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1. It's weird. Like, why even bother paying that amount of money for an actor of that caliber and that size? Now, anyway, let's get to the meatballs of the spaghetti here. Let's talk about that final act of the film, the second half. Hoo-wee. Yikes. So I've only really been talking about the first half here. The second half goes into the most generic horror movie I think I've seen all year. Like, it is actually so unbelievably generic, I have to wonder if they were laughing while filming it, just being like, man, this stinks, but we're getting paid for it. Just fucking run it. It does every possible cliche as quickly as possible. So Sam Worthington's character I mentioned, well, when Russell Crowe's character is getting way too deep into the possession, he starts like puking and coughing, he can't even do his line reading anymore. Director eventually just says, look, Sam, his name's not Sam in the movie, I already forgot what his name is. I actually don't even know if they named him in this movie. They probably forgot. But he eventually comes up to him and says, look, Sam Worthington, listen, Anthony can't do this role anymore, we need you to take it. And he goes, okay, I guess I'll take it. And then the next scene after he takes it, he's practicing his lines in front of a mirror, and Russell Crowe blasts through the mirror, grabs him by the neck, and glass shoots into his eye, killing him. But whatever. So the 2 girls end up recruiting a priest, well, a former priest, who was actually like a consultant on the set of the film, and they've been kind of keeping him up to date on what's going on with Russell Crowe this entire time. And then he's like, okay, time to dust off this old suit here and perform an exorcism. So then the 3 of them go to the movie set, and they confront Russell Crowe. He's got the priest in a trance, and he's got the daughter's girlfriend in a trance, and then he's just like playing like goofy little games with her. So like there's a Bible on the ground, and the daughter's walking up to the Bible. She goes to pick it up, and then it just magically fucking whips to the other side. So then she goes over and then picks it up. It's like that scene out of SpongeBob with the dollar bill, where they throw a dollar bill out and then like yank it back. That's what he's doing with the Bible. So he's quite the prankster, I suppose. His name was like Moloch or something, I forgot. And then she starts reading from the Bible, and then Russell Crowe sits there and he's like, "You don't believe those words, do you? I know you don't believe those words." And he just sits there like lecturing her, goes on like a monologue about why Russell Crowe's not worth saving. Why? Like, why are you even bothering to have this conversation? This is my biggest pet peeve about horror films, where like the evil demon entity gives the tools sometimes to the people fighting him. To, like, why? Why? Like, there's no self-preservation from the demons? What, they'd go through all this effort, this elaborate plan of possessing someone, and all of these steps, just to allow the good guys to get all of the necessary tools while they watch. Like, this demon could have killed all of them. Why put them in a trance? Why let her get the Bible? Why let them do that, and you just sit there watching and sometimes laughing and giving a stupid speech? It's ridiculously dumb. It just shows that the writers have no idea on how to have, like, the humans combat the demon here. So they just rush through it with this cliche formulaic dog shit. So, anyway, she starts reading from the Bible. He eventually goes over to her because it's not working, and he grabs her up, choking her. And then she puts a cross on his forehead, and he's like, "Ouch, oh, it burns," which snaps the other two out of their trance. And then eventually the priest is like, "Listen, take me instead. Give them Russell Crowe back." And the demon complies, so he then possesses the priest, and Russell Crowe snaps out of it. Russell Crowe then starts reading from the Bible, which bursts into flames, another classic horror movie trope. And he's like, "The Lord forsakes you, clearly. You're irredeemable trash is what you are." But then the tables start to turn as he starts reciting the prayers from memory, and then the two girls behind him are saying, "Amen!" And then the demon's like, "No!" screaming. And Russell Crowe keeps his foot on the gas, saying all the holy words, and the two girls behind him going, "Amen! Amen! Amen!" And the demon's going, "Ah!" just squirming around. And then it eventually culminates with Russell Crowe taking that crucifix, taking the cross, and stabbing the old guy in the head, fucking instantly killing him. But then he goes in for round two and then stabs him up through the neck, literally impaling this fucking guy, which then sets him on fire and burns his body to ashes. You didn't even beat the demon, you just killed this guy. Keep in mind, he was like, the priest was still there. Like, the demon was using his body as a vessel. They didn't just exorcise the demon, they murdered the man. In that case, you could have just called the police to come shoot him. It would have done the same thing. So they just fucking murder this guy, and that's their triumphant moment. It's so stupid. Like, the whole final act is so bad. It's so bad. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk about this movie since I saw another trash horror film. It's not the worst horror movie of the year, but it's definitely a bad one. It's another absolutely horrible one to put into this very impressive 2024 for bad movies. That's really about it. See ya.